everybody, this is Clarine from In Reenie's room, and today we're going to be making this little desktop adhesive caddy. So you can keep all your adhesives in there. I put in my pop-ups, score tape. I like to keep a pencil in mine, and then I also keep something that I use almost every day. It's this little hole punch. It fits right in there. Or you could even put your glue. Whatever works for you. It's really handy to have everything you need right on your desk, not buried at the bottom of whatever project you're working on. So here's the front, here's the sides, there's the back. Lots of fun, very useful. There's lots of little pieces to cut out, so let's go ahead and get started on that. We're going to cut out the base pieces first, and I'll give you all the measurements so that you can have them, and then we'll have little piles of everything we need, and I'll show you how to put it together. Okay, so this is going to be the first one. You're going to cut a piece that's 8 1/4 by 6 1/2. And then with the long side at the top, you're going to score at 4 1/4 and 5 1/4, and then you rotate it and you're going to score at 1 and 5 1/2. I'll set that over here. And then for the middle piece, there's actually 3 little pockets that make up this caddy. This one is 6 by 5, and with the long side at the top, you're going to score at 3 and 4. Then you rotate it, and you're going to score at 1 and 4. And that's for the second piece. And for the final one, you need a little piece that is 6 by 3 1/4. And this one with the long side at the top, you're going to score at 3 and 4. And then you'll rotate it. You're going to score at 1 and 2 1/4. And this is a chipboard. This is kind of medium weight chipboard. It's for the base on the bottom. This wasn't in the original directions that I got from Wendy. This is cute. Her name is Wendy Lee, and the name of her site is Creatively Yours. I thought that was cute. Anyway, I added this onto the bottom just to give it to some stability. So this piece is 4 3/4 by 2 1/2. Just set that to the side. Okay, now here are the gold pieces that we're going to cut out. You'll need one that is 4 1/4 by 3 7/8. I'll set that over here. You're going to need 4 little pieces that are 2 3/4 by 7/8. This is for the sides. And I'm just starting little piles over here. We'll use them up in a minute. And then you also need 1 3/4 by 1 inch. And I've used, this is the base panel. I used gold, so you can use whatever color you like, but these are the measurements. And then you need one that is 2 3/4 by 1 3/4. That's going to be one of the panels. And then these are the pattern papers that are going to go on the top. You need one that is 4 by 3 5/8, which is going to go right like that. Okay, I'll put that in with the gold one. Then you'll need one of the front pieces that is 2 1/2 by 1 1/2. And I'll put that over there. Then you're going to need 4 that are 2 1/2 by 3/4. Now when we go to use these, there's a little bit of angles that need to be cut because as you can see down the side here, this has an angle. This one does not. So 2 will have an angle, 2 will not, and I'll walk you through that when we get there. Basically, you'll be putting a dot 3/4 of the way down, and then we'll angle it. And you'll see what I mean in a little bit. So I'll put these guys over here. And the last little thing you need is another pattern paper that is 1.5 plus 1/16. And this is for the tiny little piece here in the front. And that is by 7/8. Don't forget that little extra bit on the 1.5. Okay. All right, well, let's get started putting this together. I'm going to start with the first one. I've already scored, of course, so these are the score lines. I'm going to put them face down because that's the valley side. Score and burnish. And black is kind of hard to see. Sometimes you have to move it around so you can see where you're at. And then there's the middle. Now, and this, all 3 pieces are the same way. There's going to be the tab, which runs down almost in the middle. There's a short side, and then there's a long side. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the tab. And I'm just going to cut that. Then I'm going to angle in, just put a little wedge on there, cut out an angle. Remember, you go at an angle, you don't go straight up. And turn it around and do the same thing over here. Go up to that first line. These are just the tabs. And I'll angle that in. About 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little more, just to take out the thickness. Okay, so what we're going to do with the, let's turn it over, and with the long side up at the top, and here's the short side, we're going to put 1/2 inch score tape on these little tabs. Oops, get all my little things out of the way. I'm just putting one piece, and I'm putting it up against the score mark so that it can get hooked onto the side. And that seems to be plenty. And what's going to happen is, after we take it off, that's going to come, let's pull that up. It hooks onto the long side. So this will come up. Oopsie. Oh, I'm sorry, I got it backwards here. I want this to hook this way. Okay. So this tab is going to hook onto the long side like that on both sides. But before we do that, I'm going to flip it over. Oh, let's see. I've got my tab. That's what I did wrong. I put this tab on the wrong side. Yikes. Sorry. Let me just take that off. I didn't make a mistake, just to show you what not to do. Alright, so here, let me put that back on. Like that. Okay. So then you're going to flip that over, and your tabs will be up like this. But we're going to put 2 strips down the short side. So this is long side, this is the short side. And we're going to put 1/4 inch this time down the short side. Yeah, if I can find the end of my tape, come on, there it is. So I'll put one strip there. That's along the edge. Gosh, getting sticky today. Let me clean that up a little bit. And then one over by the score line, not on it, but right next to it. It goes right there. And then I'll put another one here, one on each side, and then one on the outer edge. And then I'll burnish those down. Okay, so what we've got here then is we're going to turn this back over. I don't think I burnished those. Let me get them real good. Take the tab up. And then this is going to attach to the longer side, like that. So I'm taking this edge and I'm putting it over right up against that score line to form a little corner. I'm squeezing it down real good. And then over here, same thing, the edge against the score line. Get a nice corner. Okay, and then I'm going to strip off these pieces of tape, and they're going to come up. Give this a good crease. They're going to come up on the outside and then just form a little cover for that. So let's do that. All three of these sections are going to be done the same. So it might be a little awkward when you do your first one, but then you'll be fine. I'm going to push that edge over, make sure it's nice and straight. Okay. Burnish that down. Come over here and do the same thing. I want to make sure that this edge goes over along that score line on the back side. And also making sure down here in the corner that they line up. Looks good. Okay. So this is that back piece. And while I have it here, I'm going to go ahead and attach these the back pieces that are going to go here. Now, I have done this both ways as far as the glue, and I used runner tape and it just didn't hold, and I think that might be because of my gold that I selected for the panel. It's a little thicker, but it wasn't holding, so I'm going to suggest that you just go ahead and glue everything. This goes right in the middle, like that. There we go. Push that down. Burnish that. And I'll go ahead and put the top one on as well. Remembering to get those corners forget to get glue in the corners. And then just center that. Looks good. Okay. There's your back piece. Already done. So let's set that over here. And we'll bring up the middle piece. We're going to do it the same way that we did the other one. Here's the, go ahead, this is the valley side, so I put that down. Pull this back, burnish score line. So here's the 1 inch square in the middle that's going to form the tabs. So I'm just going to cut those out. And just angle in. Get some of that thickness out of the tab. Over here, do the same thing. Go. Now you can see that this is the shorter side and here's the longer side. So we're going to do the same thing that we did before. I did mine ahead of time so you don't have to watch me do the taping part. This is the short side, this is the long side. You put the 1/2 inch score tape right here on the tabs. Then you flip it over and you have the long side on the top, short side on the bottom, and that's where these 2 1/4 inch score tape go. So let me bring this up. Whoops. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. I've got little pieces of paper and score tape and all kinds of stuff hanging around here. So remember, here's the long side. That is the side that this tab is going to go onto, like that. So I'm going to go ahead and take these off as well. Long side up here, the tab goes right in there. Get the edge in the corner, press it down, bring this one over, line it up, the corner and the edge, give it a good squeeze. Okay. Then these side pieces, where I already stripped off the tape, come up on the outside of the tall side. Line it up at the bottom and on this edge, and just give it a good squeeze. And the same over here. There we go. All right, so then there's your middle piece. So I'm going to go over here to this little stack of pieces over here and get the middle gold that we cut out and the pattern piece. I'm going to glue those down. Oops. I don't really like to use glue on these metallic pieces because that sometimes gets in my way. But since the tape wasn't holding, I don't have a choice. That goes on there, and then this piece is going to get centered right here. Just in the middle. Like that. Mash it down. Come over here and burnish that a little better. Okay, we'll set that over there. This piece is actually going to go right in there. But first we have to make this third one. We'll glue those together before we mount them onto that back piece. So I'll set that right next to there. And here's our other piece. Here's our other piece. Same thing. There's my valley side, so I put that face down. Burnish the edges. Gets tinier and tinier. And then we have, here's the long side, here's the short side, and this is the little tabs that's in that inch section. So I'll cut along the score line. A little wedge, and flip it over to the other side. Okay, and then we're going to be putting the glue in the tabs in the same place. Here's the tall side, the short side. This is the 1/2 inch score tape. Put it right up against the edge there. Then you turn it over with the long side up. Here's the short side. You put the 1/4 inch, 2 strips on each section. I'll take these off. They attach to the inside of the long side. So I'm just forming my little corner there. Sit down. And get the other side. That, press it down. Then we're going to take off these strips and they're going to go right up there. Making sure that the edges line up with those fold lines so that you have a nice corner here. That's got a good, come on, go all the way over to the edge. I want to bring it all the way over. There we go. And then over here, line up that edge with the score line. There we go. Okay. Then here's those smaller pieces that are going to go right on the front here. don't know who originally made this up, but it's really clever, and it's simple. It's just that it's got so many different pieces. As long as you get your angles lined up and get everything put in the right spot, it turns out pretty good. This one goes right there in the middle. Okay, so now we're going to be cutting some of those angles that I was telling you about. You see how this comes down in the front on both sides? To do that, we're just going to cut from this corner straight down to that corner. And you could just use a pair of scissors. It's not worth drawing a line and all that. You just boom, go like that. Turn it over. Just get the scissors lined up and trim it right like that. So we'll do this one as well. Same way. You're just going from the top up here right down to there. We're just cutting out a little triangle. Then you come over here and do the same side. Whoops, got my glue. Glue's not sticking. Yeah, that's that gold paper I chose. It looks really good, but gotta pay attention to it. Don't let it get away from you. Okay, put this down like that. All right. Now these two pieces are going to get glued together here. So let's do that. Be liberal with the glue here. This is regular cardstock, so it takes the glue well, and you want them to be sure and stick. And then I'm just lining them up right next to each other. Front and the back. Like that. Just pressing that glue down there. There we go, just like that. Now these little side pieces, let's do those. I'm going to do them in sections. This one, let's start here. These two don't get cut. These just lay right here because they don't go past that line there. Even though we need to cut that edge, let's cut that so that everything is equal. It's a little bit longer triangle, but the same thing. You go from that corner straight on down to the other one. A little piece of tape there, I'm pushing out of the way. And the same over on this side. Up on the edge and then just go straight down. Okay, that's sitting good. So, all right, so I'm just going to put one on each side. And here's the pattern pieces that go on that as well. There. Give that a minute to set. Oops. I think if I ever make one of these again, and I might, even though I've already made a few, I just think they're so clever, and it really does work good on my desk. It's so nice to be able to just grab what I need. Right. So we'll put this one on the side. And that just goes in the center. Like that. Just kind of press down. I can't really do much sliding because of that gold paper, but I want it to be in the middle. And then this goes on the other side. I'm going to mash that pattern down. Just get centered. There we go. Okay, I'll just set that to the side. Let it dry for a little bit. Isn't that cute? Look how nice that's going together. I like that. Okay, so now let's come back to these two sides. We're going to put the gold on first, but before we do, I'm going to measure down 7/8 of an inch because I want to cover this whole side up here as well. So we want to be able to cut an angle right in here. So I'm going to measure down 7/8 of an inch on this side. Oops. Now I'll put a little tick mark right there. And what I'll do is cut from that tick mark right up to that corner. And I'll do the same thing with this pattern paper, except that I'm only going to do 3/4. I'm not going to do 7/8. So I'll bring this down and put a little tick mark over here at 3/4. That's right here. Make sure you do it on the right side. This is where I want to go up. 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to glue it on here, right in the center, and then this goes right up here. Got that in the middle. Now while that dries, because it's glue on the metallic paper, I'm going to do the other side. So I'll put this up here. I need to make the tick mark on this side. The 7/8 up there. And then this is going to be the piece that goes on top, so I need to make my tick mark over here. And that's also 3/4. That's right here. to that other tip. Glue that down. Oops, there we go. Just center that. So I'm going to put the other side on first, give that a second to set. This takes a little more patience working with this metallic papers, but it looks good. I like it. So this one will go right up here. Go. Put that down, and I'll put this one on the other side. Oh my gosh, we're almost done here. And this just goes right in the center of that side. Here we go. Pressing it down. Okay. Wow, look at that. Look, there's those little edges coming up. And just, you know, that metallic paper, you're just going to have to, if you use metallic paper, you just got to keep an eye on it and press it down until it has time to really set that glue. Let's see. We put it on the front, not the back side. All right, so this back here is going to get glued on here. They're pretty close to matching. There might be a tiny bit on one side or the other, so get it as much in the middle as you can. This is a good time to bring out this Eileen's tacky glue, because it comes, we want to put a lot in here, and this stuff just comes out in a gushing waterfall. So I'm putting a lot on here, covering this side. Oops, come on, get out. There we go. Making sure to get the corners. Covering everything. A lot of glue on there. And that's going to go right on the front here. It's important to get these edges on the bottom lined up. So I'm going to set it on there. Right like that. That's pretty dang close. All right. And see how it sits nice and solid? That means that these are lined up on the bottom. So then I'll just press and hold that in place so that that can all stick. There's really no way to get in there with a bone folder or anything, so just apply the pressure with your fingers, making sure that everything is staying glued. Give this a little shove, make sure that this lines up. Kind of push and pull for a little bit. Oh wow, doesn't that look great? Look at that. Edge on there, so you got to put some pressure on there. We put a lot of glue, and it will dry. And then that also gives a little strength when that glue dries. But keep an eye on it. Keep pressure every once in a while. Then we're going to attach that to this bottom piece. And this is about 1/4 of an inch wider. So when you put it on the bottom, it does have a little bit of an edge. So let's get out Eileen's glue again and just cover this bottom. Yeah, I'm being very generous with this glue because we want a lot down here. And it's kind of drying up on me. What's going on? Gotta push harder, I guess. Here it comes. Some of this kind of smears around when you put the pressure on it, but you want to have that solid with glue. It's got to hold it all in place like that. And then before you set it all the way down, put it down and check that edge and move him over. You know, this all dries clear, so don't be too afraid of that glue showing. About 1/4 of an inch all the way around. Yeah, that looks good. I'm going to pop that down right there. Now this is where I can use my bone folder. Help get that glue to go down. Okay. All right, that looks good. Very happy with that. All right, so now all we have to do is decorate it. So what I chose for decorating was these little pieces of ephemera. I cut out some flowers. These are little leaves come from a die. I'm going to put those in. And this is a little image that I chose for the back. So I'm going to put that right back in this corner. And I'm going to use pop-ups for that. Did you see how I was showing off? I went over and got them out of my already completed one. So on the back of him, I'm going to put a bunch of the bigger pop-ups. Remember, when you're putting pop-ups on, you want to put enough in there to pop everything up, but you don't want to get too near the edge. You don't want to see these pop-ups. You just want to see the image raised. So I'll put that there. And just take these off. This little gnome right over here in the corner. Being a bee gnome, he kind of fits my bee background. There he goes. Okay. So the rest of it is actually up to where you want to put stuff. I put my flowers in here, and then let me just show you a couple of them, and then I'll show you the finished product, and then you can put your things around where you're putting them. I'm going to get some smaller pop-ups. I can take a big one. I'll put a big one on there. So I did both. I used pop-ups, and some of them I just glued on. I kind of wanted to tie these in, so I didn't put it, I put it right between the folds so it looks like it's one solid piece. And then these are little leaves. Oops. I just glued those on. And I pushed them into place with my pokey tool. like that. And then with these two little pop-ups, I went ahead and put another flower down there. And all I did was glue that one on. I slid it underneath the pop-ups. That's a bit much glue. So I just slid that under there. Oops. Like that. Okay, so that's how I decorated mine. Here's the finished product. I'll let you put your decorations where you see fit. There's the back. The other side. Remember to keep your ephemera inside the lines so that you don't mess them up when you go to pick out one of your tools. And there you have it. The desktop adhesive caddy. Thanks so much for coming by.